The end of empire has actually got two men on a seesaw facing each other. They're dressed in Victorian costumes made out of African textiles. They're metaphors for each side of the conflict. And the men are not specifically Western, because after all, it's a war that took in the whole of the world.
Yinka Shonibari's latest sculpture was commissioned by the Turner Contemporary Gallery in 1418 now as part of a cultural program for the First World War centenary.
The two globes on the work show the two different alliances of the First World War. So on the one side you have France, United Kingdom, and Russia. And on the other side, you've got Germany and Austria, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and they confront each other in this game of brinkmanship. It's about breaking that deadlock. And so they are constantly moving up and down to break that deadlock.
Despite the First World War happening over 100 years ago, many of the issues faced then are issues we have to face today, especially when it comes to the conflict in Syria and the subsequent migration crisis.
I feel very strongly that we must actually be more compassionate towards people who are in need. And I feel that unfortunately, the way that some people have been responding to the refugee crisis in the UK compared to how people responded in the First World War is not generous enough. And I think we do need to learn from the lessons of the past.
Yinka was left partially paralyzed after contracting a neurological disorder when he was just 18. Despite his disability, Yinka has been nominated for a Turner Prize, awarded an MBE by the Queen, and was commissioned to fill the famed fourth plinth in London's Trafalgar Square. Yinka's work continually tackles themes of colonialism, post-colonialism, and identity, whilst using his signature printed material. Evident in another piece of Yinka's work called The British Library. The previously commissioned piece also presented at the gallery.
British Library is a work I've made about, second generation or third generation immigrants into the UK. Surprisingly, there are a number of iconic British names whose parents actually came from elsewhere. And so all of the narratives of those people, their history, they're embodied in the metaphor of the book. So I created this library with books, and on the spines of the books are the names of the people.
Names like Didier Drogba, Prince Charles, and Mario Testino among them.
It's a visual library, really, and all the books are covered in Dutch wax batik fabric, so this brightly coloured fabric, which Yinka Shonibari uses a lot in his work. It's really a colonial invention. The fabric was inspired by Indonesian designs originally, but it was introduced by the Dutch into Indonesia, and then later on sold to West Africa. And it's been adopted, I guess, by African people as a symbol of African independence since the 1960s. It's still made today, this kind of fabric.
The exhibition at Turner Contemporary is a chance to experience one of contemporary art's great social commentators.
I hope that the work does engage people. I hope that people then want to find out more about what the globes mean and why the work has been made the way it's been made. But generally, I want people to think, and I also want them to just enjoy the, enjoy the work.
Jason Mansoray, TRT World, Margate.